Welcome to the table. You are now listening to the Real Table podcast with Michael Carter.
Welcome back to another episode of the Real Table podcast with Michael Carter. And it is great as always to be back at the table talking movies. And I'm excited about this one. I'm really excited about this one because it's Marvel. And y'all know I love to talk Marvel on this podcast. And I'm just really excited about this one. But I'm even more excited, not even just about the movie. I got a special guest on today, a new special guest. I've been trying to get this guy on for a while. We're on season 3, and he has yet to be on this episode.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
It's okay. It's life. Life is all over the place sometimes, so it's hard to get people's schedules lined up, but I was able to get my good friend Josh McPheron on the Real Table podcast. Josh, bro, what's up?
What's going on, man? Glad to finally be on.
Dude, I'm so glad that you got a chance to be on. I was like, eventually I knew it was gonna happen, but it was like when. It was all about when. So Josh, go ahead and share with the people who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Yeah, so I don't know. Things have been really crazy the last couple of years. So my name's Josh. I am on staff with H2O Church in Athens, Ohio, at Ohio University. So a lot of the people that Michael has on, for BG, H2O BG. Shout out to all my great friends up there. My wife and I moved down here in 2021, and we, been here the last 4 years. It's been amazing. Have had nothing short of a blast, and don't think we're moving anytime soon. Been loving that. Other than that, my husband, I got a dog, a Labrador named Izzy, and in my free time, other than movies, I am a big Marvel, Star Wars, DC kind of that. I kind of rotate like which one I'm kind of in the mood to dive into the most. Like it's just kind of like a continuous cycle.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I'm also a huge Cleveland Browns fan, and so I have an Instagram page, which Michael is actually taking some photos of this. So I have an Instagram page called The Brown DeLorean. So, Brown DeLorean, like, BROWN, you get the picture. But I have an Instagram page. Been doing that for the last couple of years. Just as it started off as just I had this really cool idea for a costume I wanted to make. I do cosplay, and I've been like stuck on ideas for years. And I was like, man, what if I could take like the Mandalorian, which I was like super high on at the time, and combine it with the Cleveland Browns. And so I have made 2 different armor sets now. It's been super duper fun. I went to a couple games in them. Living in Athens is kind of difficult to make the trip up there, but I try to go to one a year. Not sure which one I'm going to go to this year, but I try to go to one in December usually. So I've been doing that. Got my Instagram. It started off as me just like posting the costumes that I was like making just as kind of like a fun outlet, but then it kind of turned into a meme channel. I had a meme just recently blow up. It was like really weird. Didn't think it was that funny, but it just kind of, I went to bed and I was like, all right, whatever. This is the dumbest thing. And then in a couple of days, it has like 92,000 people liked it. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And then my follower count went from like 300 to like almost 800.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, all right, well, this is going to be interesting. So I'm not sure what to do with it now. I think I'm still just going to post costume stuff, but I post a couple memes here and there because it's pretty entertaining for me. But I tend to rotate between different hobbies and interests in terms of like different costumes I want to make. That's a big thing for me. Movies I want to watch. I kind of stay within the superhero Star Wars kind of realm. I'm not that exciting of a person in terms of movies outside of that. Sometimes I'll go see stuff, but honestly, that's superheroes, Star Wars, kind of my bread and butter. I'm going through Daredevil Born Again right now. Although I did forget, I am going through Reacher right now. And I just, right before I got on this, I just finished season 1. So I've been having a good time with that.
Reacher, man. Reacher's good. When I was,
it's fun, man. It's super fun.
I was sick 2 months. It was like 2 months ago. I was really sick, and I was like, I need something to watch, and so I watched all the way through Reacher season 1, and I was like, dang,
Well, the
it's so
reason
good.
I hopped on it was like my Disney Plus subscription ended, so I was mooching off my friend,
Yeah.
and couple weeks ago, Disney Plus. I think they laid down. I don't know if it just then now hit my friend's account, but like it was like you are not a part of this household. You need to confirm that you're a part of this household, and it
Yep.
gave the option for no thanks, and I said no thanks, and I was like, all right, cool. And I was going through Daredevil at the time. I was finishing season 3, and then all of a sudden, like I said, no thanks. I'm like, all right, it's gonna kick me off Disney Plus, but no, it just like let me keep going. So I
Dude.
finished like all of season 3
Yeah.
until the season finale, and then
Oh.
they said, sorry, you're done. So I had to buy the season 3 finale for like $5 on Amazon. I guess I still own it. And then after that, I was like, well, shoot. I'll start cranking out Born Again once I go back to my in-laws because I know they have it. So I'm like halfway
Yeah.
through that right now because I was there with them
Nice.
this weekend. But I was like, well, I don't really have no. I mean, there's nothing really interesting on Max right now. Well, started going to the gym, working out. Reacher's a huge dude. I get a lot of the reels of him beating people up. I'm like, this might be fun. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was like, all right, I'm gonna watch some Reacher, and it's good. I enjoy it. I'm not really familiar with the books, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So speaking of Reacher, crap, Alan Richmond, is that
Yeah.
I say it right? What are your thoughts? Just like, I mean, I won't say it's rumors. It's just fan casting, but people want him as Batman. There's another actor
Yeah.
that people want, but people want him as Batman. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I read an article saying he was like, I think he was trying to like push to
Yeah.
wanted to be that.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, his acting was pretty wooden. I'm not gonna lie. Like he kind of coasts off his stoicism a bit in
Sure.
Reacher.
Yeah.
But the more I was watching it, the more I'm a huge fan of the Bruce Timm stuff in terms of the Justice League, Batman animated series, Batman Beyond. I eat
Yeah.
that stuff up. Every once in a while I'll go back and rewatch all of it. But I the more I was watching Reacher, I'm like, he kind of does have that Kevin Conroy's stoic, especially when you get into the new Batman Adventures.
Sure.
Really stoic, kind of cold, doesn't show much emotion,
Yeah.
kind of attitude. And I was like, he's got the build. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love how Ben Affleck looks in his Batman movies.
Oh, 100%.
Like that dude, because that dude had a build. Don't get me wrong. This dude is like Arkham Batman levels of like just
he's stocky,
doesn't need
stout.
no padding. Dude can just
No.
pop in there, which might make it a little bit difficult for him to look like a normal human being when he's trying to chill. But
yeah,
I was like, I kind of want to see it. And even with like the what was it? The there'd be like so many different scenes in Reacher where he's like explaining, like he's talking strategy basically, and just like he's like analyzing and assessing the situation before he goes in. And I'm like, this is basically like what the animated Batman would act like. And so I'm like, you know what? I'd be down to give it a shot. My only request is that if they do it, I hope James Gunn does this, whoever he casts, because I'm going off of the assumption that we're gonna get the Robert Pattinson movies still, like 2 and 3.
Hopefully, yeah.
But
hopefully,
please, James Gunn, like please give him the blue costume. That's all I ask. I just want the blue cowl. I want the gray suit, and not just like a little faded blue. I want like a blue, like a really good blue cowl. That would put him in that.
I think it's time for that.
It needs to happen. It really does. I get way too. I found myself doing this with Thunderbolts 2 last night because I know we we're going to talk about this, but I really pick apart people's costumes in different movies. I have a lot of different takes on a lot of different superhero movies. I found myself like analyzing this and obsessing over this stuff, and it's got to happen. I think you get Alan Rickson with like a blue bat suit. I think it would be fire.
Yep, I hear that. And don't get me wrong, I like black and I like the gray. It's clean and slick. Right. I would say, yeah, we've had a ton of it. I think it might be time to go blue. I would like to see how that would look on screen for sure.
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued to see how Alan would act as Bruce, because I feel like Reacher, there's a certain type of
Right.
he acts a certain type of way for Reacher, so I would like to see what he would do with Bruce. I mean, he was solid on Titans, because he was on Titans. I don't know if you watched that. Yeah, he was on Titans. He was solid. So I'm curious, but he's got the build. So we'll see. Hopefully, what happens with that, because I bet soon. I can imagine soon we'll hear something about that movie rumbling. Hopefully, we'll see.
Right.
So, Josh, what are some of your favorite movies?
This is a good question. So we just came back from a mission trip a couple weeks ago, and my buddy, who I just signed up for a letterbox for because he's huge into movies too.
Yeah,
So now we have something to bond over.
Let's go.
But he asked me on the way back, because he was like my co-pilot. He was like, "What are your favorite movies of all time?" And the way I kind of had to think about it was not in the conventional sense. The way I think about my favorite movies, it's not necessarily the best movies I've ever seen.
Sure.
But if I was stuck on an island and like the guy who threw me onto this island was like, "Here, you can have 5 movies for the rest of your life. Like, what are the movies you're going to pick?" And so that's kind of how I think about it. Like, okay, I think I just put a lot of value on rewatchability.
Yeah.
So I throw a couple superhero movies in there. I have a massive I would almost say, like, even when I was a kid, an obsessive level of love for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So I throw, and this is where this is going to get surprising for some people, I put the first one on there. I actually like the first one more because
okay, fair. It's classic.
I like the origin. I miss good slow origin stories like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I love Willem Dafoe, like, as Green Goblin. All of it just amazing. I could watch it anytime, anywhere. I never get sick of it.
Yeah.
Shout out to my in-laws. They just got me for Easter the trilogy on Blu-ray, so that's gonna be great.
Yes, sir. Physical media.
Well, I don't even know where you get it. I think it's on. Oh no, it's on Disney Plus. It is on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but,
it's on Disney Plus.
Well, I don't have it anymore, but anyway. But so there's that one. I think the other superhero movie I put on there. This is tough. It depends on my mood. It's either The Dark Knight or the Batman with Robert Pattinson. One of those two. Both of them are really good, but they're really good for different reasons. So I'd probably go The Batman, honestly, because I think the whole thing, I really love it. It's a really well made movie, and it does a lot of the things with the character that I've been looking for. I've been wanting to see a Batman who's way more of a detective, and it really made my blood boil when people were like, "Dude, this movie's so freaking boring, man. He's just a detective the whole time." I'm like, "Dude, that's
Batman, bro.
I've been waiting for this for so freaking long, man. It's like, just come on." So I'm like, I was so happy. But so yeah, that was really good. And then other movies, I'm trying to think of what else did I tell him? That's what Shawshank Redemption was one of them.
Okay.
Lion King. But that's only because I grew up on that movie. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, my parents put it on for me like every single day as a toddler. So I have a very strong attachment to that movie. Not the live action one though; that one sucks.
True.
And what was the other one I said? I forget what it was. This one's really stupid, but I obviously love sports movies. The easy picks are like Remember the Titans and stuff like that. I'll admit my personal favorite is The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. It's so stupid.
It's good.
It's super fun. So plus I like football movies where the football actually looks realistic, and that one is more on the
realistic side.
More realistic side. Remember the Titans is great, but they all kind of look like they're trotting around the field, and just, I don't know, it takes me out of it every time. So
yeah, for sure.
I'd say those are my movies. Mostly though, like I kind of just dive into superhero movies Star Wars movies. I'm kind of Star Warsed out right now, even though I have a
I hear that.
Mandalorian Instagram page. I kind of made that when season 2 was like,
Yeah.
was peaking. So, but now I'm like, I'm gonna watch Andor whenever I get the chance. But because I loved Andor season 1. But other than that, I'm like, I can't remember the last time I touched something Star Wars. But yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars is in a weird position.
Yeah.
I've been seeing some tweets about season 2 of Andor. They're saying it's good. I gotta finish season 1. I still haven't finished season 1. But yeah, Star Wars is in a weird spot, man. Which I'm hoping that they can kind of right the ship. We know that there's actually a movie happening with Ryan Gosling.
Dude, I don't even know, man, though, because they've been like, what is this, like the third time they've announced like a series of movies that they're doing?
It's true.
Like there's that James Mangold First Jedi movie. There's what's the other one? They had the Rey movie, which I didn't hate that. I think I still have some softness towards there's certain parts of the sequel trilogy I like. Like I will stand on business that The Force Awakens is good, but
yes, 100%.
Yeah, just kind of a mess. I don't know.
Yeah. So hopefully they right the ship. I think they're a little afraid and scared to actually try something, and they want to get it right. But
yeah,
I think at some point they just have to swing and hope they can hit. But yeah. Oh, so you would put, this is sticking with me right now. You would put you put the Batman over the Dark Knight?
It's tough. Dude, I'm being dead serious when I say it depends on my mood. Like, okay. I think they're on the same level. Like, that's probably what I'd say. They're very good at very different things, though.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
The Dark Knight, if you want a way more action-focused Batman movie, if you want a Batman movie that's, I don't know, like very nonstop action. If you want one that's constantly stressful and just all of that, go with go with the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
If you want one that's a little bit slower, a little more methodical, a little more, I think one that fleshes out what Gotham is. Go with the Batman, because I think because I think there's elements of both that I really love. There's a YouTube channel I love to follow. It's called Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
Okay,
he does a really good job talking about the good stuff in the Batman that I think helps to understand like why it's so incredible. I think like especially like there's things about it like with the detective aspects, the what Gotham, how Gotham looks and is, and just I think the world building they do. I think like with all of that, I think those are all the areas where I think the Dark Knight is lacking. But I think obviously the Dark Knight has things that are like they do way better than it does better than the Batman. Like I mean, like I'm not going to sit here and act like Paul Dano's Riddler is better than Heath Ledger's Joker. That's just not true. But but Dano also does a really good job. And then I could. Colin Farrell's the best villain in the movie, but even though he's incredible, and he's incredible in The Penguin too, I like Heath Ledger's Joker is still good. Yeah. So I'd say they're on the same level, but for completely different reasons, and it really depends on what you want. I'd say.
Yep. I hear that. Okay. I'm a big The Batman person. I'm big. I've thought about my even though it's just one movie in the series right now, how I feel about it towards The Dark Knight. So I'm like,
I do think those two are by far the best, though. I would say those two are the best, and then Batman Begins, and then the rest of them. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, sweet. Before we get into Thunderbolts talk, what are your thoughts? Because I've talked about it a few times on the podcast. Like what before the Thunderbolts, before like you've seen the movie, your reactions toward the movie, your thoughts toward the movie before the Thunderbolts. What are your feelings and thoughts and your opinions, all that stuff towards the MCU. Like what has been your thought process about the MCU?
Like I think the thing that everyone like, I feel like every time I have a conversation with someone about Marvel, it's kind of it's all very similar. Like ever since Endgame, they haven't been as good, and like they're way off track. They have no idea what they're doing. They're falling apart, and I agree with some of that. I definitely like there definitely is there definitely are some struggles they're dealing with, but I don't think my personal take is I don't feel like it's as bad as I think some people make it out to be. They're like, oh, just Marvel's like nothing has been good since Endgame, and I just respectfully, I just think that's not true at all. Like, I think, like, I was talking to a friend about this earlier. Like, there's been some bangers that have come out of like phases 4 and 5, like Spider-Man: No Way Home. Like, personally for me, as a big Toby guy, I get it's fan service, but I don't care. I still love it.
Sure.
And it's a really good story in general too. Guardians 3. Guardians 3 is really good.
Yeah.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think is better than the first Black Panther. It's really good.
All right.
I think it's a very good movie. I'm actually looking at my letterbox right now. I'm like, what else did I put on the higher end of my letterbox? Because there's like a million of these movies now. There's like 40. Oh, there's 44. Well, there's 45, but the only one I have not seen yet is Captain America 4. I've not seen that yet. I was gonna watch it before I saw Thunderbolts, but it was $25 to rent, and I was like, no, thank you, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm not spending
worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Werewolf by Night was really good.
I still haven't seen that.
Dude, watch it. It's really good. It's okay. I'm gonna go on another thing. So the one critique I'll give Phase 4, or Phases 4, 5, and I think that's it, and 6. Obviously, it's definitely been a case of quantity over quality for sure.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of why the shows especially are not doing as well is a lot of those did not need to be shows. They either needed to be movies, or, hear me out, they needed to be like Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night is a long event. It is just like a mini movie.
Yeah.
Do you know how easy and how much like financial, like it would be so much easier and it would be so much more financially easy for you to just crank out a couple of those, just do that and just leave it at that. I get they probably wanted to have a lot of these shows just so that people would stay on Disney Plus, but I mean, if you made a couple special presentations and then maybe like a show or two that you could really sink your, like, to really just go all in on, like with your resources, I think they'd be some of the stuff that they would be pumping out wouldn't be as mediocre or as forgettable. Now, I will say, to be fair, there are some shows I really like Loki.
Yeah.
Enough said. Great show. I really like the Hawkeye show. I'm like one of the like 3 people out there who loves it, but it's not super serious, and I just really enjoyed it. So, trying to see what other ones that I like. I actually, WandaVision was decent. It was good at first, and then it kind of fell off towards the end. I actually liked Miss Marvel, and
I did too.
It was nice, and then Moon Knight was okay. But I mean, some of the other ones, like, very forgettable. Falcon and Winter Soldier was pretty mid.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. She-Hulk, I don't think it was as bad as some of the people were throwing. A lot of people were throwing tantrums about it. That was actually the one I was the most excited for, because I was like, dude, I'd never thought in a million years of getting a freaking She-Hulk show, but I'm ready for this, and I got excited, and it was okay. I wasn't crazy about it, but I mean, I watched it. It was kind of just a whatever for me.
Yeah.
But and then in terms of other good movies in Phase 4 and 5, like obviously Shang-Chi is, a lot of people love Shang-Chi. I'm not as big on it, but I do like it. It's not. Yeah. It wasn't my favorite, but it was very good. I mean, it was. Sure. Yeah, I can't deny. Oh, I forgot this one. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place, but so I mean, I also love Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah.
and then I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness gets way too much hate. I think it's very fun. On my list
Okay.
of on my letterbox list, out of all 44, like my top 10 is pretty set. There's
Sure.
only one movie post Endgame that made it, and it's Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's sheerly because of my Spider-Man obsession.
Okay.
But outside of that, uh the next 5 movies, um 4 of them are phase 4 and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, then I have Guardians of the Galaxy, then I have Wakanda Forever, and then I have what we're going to be talking about in a little bit.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
they get too
and
much hate.
yeah, the shows and like even Kevin Feige, like I'm looking at this article, this is fresh. And the quote that says the MCU shows and movies feel more like homework than entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think part of me thinks the recent head of Disney, he's no longer head of Disney anymore. I forget his name. Chapek, I think it's Chapek.
Yeah.
I think he was pushing a lot of that stuff with the whole Disney Plus launch and this streaming service and that whole thing. And so I felt like Kevin Feige was probably forced into a situation where it was just like, we have to be here, and so we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna, we're gonna do what we can. And I agree with you. I do think the shows have been, a lot of the stories, a lot of the shows could have been something like a special presentation, or something like a movie, like thinking about like Secret Invasion. Like, I can't stress enough that, like, now that I think about it.
I mean, I didn't even touch that.
Like, now that I think about it, out of everything that I've watched post Endgame, that might be the worst.
Everyone I've heard from is like, it's bad. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is forgettable. It's like bad.
Because that one, and people were even saying it while I was streaming, while they released the episode, they're like, this kind of could have been a cool movie, cool idea for a big event movie before we get, to these big Avenger movies. And so, yeah, I think a lot of these shows, they played, they just did whatever. But that leads me right into what we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Thunderbolts.
Lena, being a hero, there is no higher calling. Your sister understood something about that.
I should have come back for you.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
I was in high school when the Avengers came. Kind of strange that it's all over now. No one's coming to save the day.
I think we are. We can be the ones that are coming.
But you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
Look, I've been where you are. The past doesn't go away. So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it. I am a void. Look what you unleashed. We can't outrun the emptiness.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
We all have things that we regret.
But I have so many.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
We can't stop him alone. No one can. But we can find a way. Together.
Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts, directed by Jake Schreier. I think personally, you can tell, like this feels like, because there is a shift. If people don't know, there's a shift on the Marvel Studios side, and they started to think about how they're going to do things. The Jonathan Majors stuff, they had to rework a lot of stuff.
Right.
And the box office results aren't as good. Like if you weren't Shang-Chi, if you weren't Black Panther Wakanda Forever, if you weren't Guardians, I can't remember what Multiverse of Madness did. I think it was solid. But if you weren't the big movies, you weren't making the big bucks. Or I should say, if you weren't the movies with the characters people are familiar with, you weren't making the big bucks, and so they had to do a whole overhaul and change.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like Thunderbolts feels like this is where the overhaul happened. Like I don't know if it's just me, but it feels completely different. It feels like they took care of it. It feels like it's a story that probably could have played in the Infinity Saga in a way. Like it feels more of what the MCU was. What are your thoughts on that? First, what are your thoughts on that, and also what are your thoughts on the movie in general too?
Yeah, I feel like overall the movie did a really good job of, I think, kind of doing a course correct and feeling like it definitely, I think it has definitely stood out in comparison to a lot of the other things that have come out recently, and it's felt more like a movie than I think a lot of the stuff that has been churned out recently. But I think the way they do it, I think this movie does a really good job of taking characters from these different Disney Plus shows, from these maybe some of the movies that you didn't like as much. I mean,
Yeah,
the Black Widow movie, wasn't a big fan of it. Half of the roster, well, some of the roster, I should say. I don't want to get too spoilery. Comes from that movie, and then you have, Bucky. Then you have, U.S. Agent, who was from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah.
Then you have Ghost, who was from Ant-Man the Wasp. No one really was that big of a fan of it. Just a lot of characters that I think a lot of people kind of considered very forgettable. And I think it did a really good job of taking these characters that everyone just kind of was beating up on, not really caring about, saying that it didn't really have any value or anything to say.
Yeah.
And turn them into a really cool story that deals with kind of the themes of being someone who is alone and someone who is struggling and someone who doesn't really have anything going for them. And I think that was I don't know if they intended for that kind of meta connection, but I think it just worked out in the movie's favor. So I thought the movie was great. I really enjoyed it. I went with a couple buddies last night, and I thought it was super fun.
Yeah, I was highly surprised. I think coming out of, I know you didn't see Brave New World, but Brave New World felt like it fell flat for me.
Yeah.
I needed more from it, especially knowing that we've got so many movies left before we hit Doomsday. I was like, I kind of need more, and I feel like Thunderbolts gave me that more that I was looking for. And also, thinking about it just as a movie and as a standalone movie, any connections and stuff like that, thinking about it as just a movie, it just feels, it's just good. It's just really, really good quality work. And it's refreshing to go, this can be done in the MCU. And again, we've seen the movies like the Shang-Chi's or the Wakanda Forevers that don't have these little bits that make you remember, oh, this is leading up to a big storyline. A lot of the stories, I think, in phases 4 and 5 have felt more they felt more like little individual moments and stuff in this big world. But yeah, I think Thunderbolts just did a really good job. And making it feel like it is a standalone movie, but also there's clearly something here with where we're going, where these characters are going to play a bigger role.
Yeah, and I also think on top of that, I think I could tell from the trailers alone that this movie was going to be something unique and something
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
because it was a very simple thing that really tipped me off because I think what you see in a lot of MCU movies in terms of the way they're color graded, the way the visuals look,
Yeah.
they're almost identical, every single one of them. You get to this one though, and like you can see the color grading is like noticeably grayer,
Yeah.
and it's very stylized, and like, and I'm like, huh, we haven't really seen a movie that looks like that. Interesting. So that really turned me on to the movie. And I mean, Fantastic Four, I think, also had a little bit of that going for it. I was like, oh, it looks noticeably different. It doesn't look as samey. And I think with Thunderbolts, like, I think that was just like, I think the first little hint I had of like, oh wow, this is like, feels like we're taking this in a little bit more of a creative direction. And it doesn't feel manufactured. It very much feels like something that the director got to have his fun with and kind of take some liberties with. So
Yeah. And I tip my hats off to Jake Schreier. I think he did a really good job, and I think whatever the process was, I know there's always talks about how Marvel kind of controls their directors, but whatever process they had with Jake Schreier, I think it really paid off because I mean we saw it in the product. It turned out to be a really good product.
Yeah.
Any favorite characters from this movie? I feel like the ensemble was really likable. Who was your favorite?
That's a good question. I think so. I mean, I think they're all great. I think they all have their moments to shine. I think obviously, everyone's already saying Florence Pugh's the standout as Yelena. That's kind of a given. She's the main character.
Yeah,
it's pretty dang clear.
Yeah.
But I think everyone in this movie really gets like a good moment to shine, or at least they get some good like lines of dialogue, some good scenes. One of the critiques I heard about this movie was that like, especially when they get into, are we doing spoilers or no?
Soon, not yet, soon.
Certain characters get more backstory than others, and I think the complaint is that some of those characters didn't get as much backstory, and I'm like, well, that's that they kind of weren't as fleshed out, and I'm like, my pushback to that would be, sure, but those specific characters I think also have had plenty of opportunities for backstory in the past. Like like for example, like I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but I mean, Bucky doesn't get a flashback, and it's like, well, yes, but we've seen him like struggling. It's like everyone's having like sad flashbacks, and it's like, okay, well, I think he gets a pass for not having one, So and there's a couple other characters that were like that. So Yelena's up there. Everyone's saying Red Guardian is the heart and soul of the movie. I don't disagree with that. David Harbour did a really good job.
Dude, he's so good.
I found myself really liking John Walker, the U.S. agent. I found myself really enjoying seeing his like his life after his Falcon and the Winter Soldier crash out was like, it was interesting, and I really like how they handled it. Although some of it was really sad, but it was in a good way. Like the movie did a good job. I will say, here's the other thing I will say, and this isn't a character that a lot of people are giving recognition to because her character's been in a lot of other shows, kind of in the background.
Sure.
I really enjoyed Val in this movie. She's not. I was telling my friend about this. She's not your stereotypical. Like, she's not a Nick Fury. She's not a Thunderbolt Ross. She's not this stoic character who's like got it all together.
Yeah,
she is kind of in that director of these organizations role, but she doesn't have her crap together. And you see throughout the whole movie, she is the kid who forgot to do the project until the night it was due, and is just scrambling, putting on a smiling, brave face, but she is like scrambling because she is just making this up as she goes. And I thought that dynamic where she's like putting on this face to show she's she's got all this in control, and she's got like this really great confidence, even in moments where she should be totally screwed. But at the same time, you see her just like she's like. I love characters who are just like, and like I love characters who just are pulling stuff out on the fly, and she was doing a ton of that, especially towards the, well, later in the movie.
For sure.
But I was really enjoying her dynamic with the rest of the team and with some of the people around her who were kind of calling her out on her crap. And I think she was, I don't know, it was just very fun. It was just very fun watching her kind of like panic, get rid of stuff. Anyway, so I think that's probably like one of my more favorites. I'd probably say honestly, Yelena, John Walker, and Val, if I'm being honest. But that's my take.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I really liked Lewis Pullman. I really liked him because I don't think I've seen him in many things. I know he's in Top Gun Maverick, but he's a side character in there. But I really liked him. And what's funny is, do you know who Steven Yeun is?
Yeah, he was gonna be Sentry.
And what's crazy is, because he earned a nomination for Best Actor, for was it Minari? Maybe I think Minari maybe. But he won a Best Actor nomination. Was nominated for Best Actor, and I was like excited for him to play it, and then it didn't work out. I think the scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
And so now they get Lewis Pullman, and I'm kind of okay that it was Lewis Pullman. Like it's like I think Lewis Pullman just did a really good job at playing this really, really troubled character.
Yeah.
And also this powerful character. He was funny and he brought so much emotion to the role, and I don't know if I would have been able to see anybody else play that role. I think Steve Yeun would have did. He would have did a good job because he's a good actor. But man, I'm really glad that we got Lewis Pullman as Sentry. What are your thoughts on Sentry?
I thought he was good. Steven Yeun can, he's fine. He's off playing. Anyway, yeah, no, I thought Sentry was really cool. I never thought in a million years I'd ever get Sentry in a movie, but we're kind of at this point where we're starting to pull out some of the deep cuts, and so, yeah, I thought, what'd you say the guy's name was? It Lewis Pullman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought he did a good job. I'm not very familiar with the character of Sentry, but I listened to a couple of videos before I went to go see the movie, and I think the movie does a really good job of I think showing the complexities of that character, and I think Pullman does a really good job of I think demonstrating a lot of the very high highs and the very low lows of that character. So yeah, I thought he was great too.
Do you think? I think with actually, I guess I should say the feel, and how they played Sentry, it just feels like they got really deep with it, which is not what you see all the time in movies like this. What are your thoughts on the deepness that they expose within this character?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think they did a really good job of showing how troubled he is. Because at first you think, oh, this is a guy who's got Superman powers, and it's well, no, he's a lot more complicated than that. And tying that back to he explains a little bits of just kind of his hard life and the a lot of the themes that are in here, themes of depression, bipolar disorder, all the it's not really a theme, but the ideas, topics of depression, bipolar disorder, mental health, they do it. I'm not the biggest fan of movies where it's it feels like we just kind of like we're taking away from the story and just now we're going to turn and talk about these things and just look at the audience like, hey, we're going to talk about this now. Like you gotta weave it into the narrative in a thoughtful way. And I think the way they do it with Sentry, I think they weave it in a very thoughtful way with how he gets his powers, how his powers work, and how, just how they relate to, I think, some of the heavier and deeper themes of loneliness and, depression that are in this movie. Because I think it also complements. I think it gave me a much better perspective as to why Sentry was in this movie. Because I'm like, okay, because they even say in the movie they're like, okay, literally all these characters are like, they have guns.
Yeah.
Like, how the heck? I'm thinking as I'm going to this movie, I'm like, how the heck are they going to fight this guy? Like, they better not like talk him down and be like, this isn't you. Like, I don't want to see any of that. I want to see them actually have a legitimate, like, there was a takedown of him in some capacity. And well, you can't shoot him.
Right.
They make that very clear. But I think they find a way to take him down, which is very satisfying. But also, like, I think it makes a lot more sense as to why they put him in this story because I think he ties in with the overall theme.
Yep. Yeah, I think the writing in here and the way that they wove that in, and that was one thing I noticed too. Like when they talked about the trauma and like the loneliness and the darker themes, like they didn't say it to you plainly. Like they didn't just tell it to your face. Like obviously they didn't make it overly complicated to understand, but they did a good job of putting it there, and you just took it as what it was, and it didn't feel cheesy either, which was like huge for me. I was like, this doesn't feel cheesy. Like I was talking to my friend, and he went to go see it, and he was like, he actually had me crying. He was like, I was kind of weeping actually, So I think it's really cool to hear like how cool that moment is for people and what the movie is doing. So
yeah, didn't feel like they were like, all right, we're gonna take a break from the story and give you this infomercial about this that we want to talk about to you directly. It feels like it's a part of the story.
Yeah. Okay, let's start dropping some spoilers. So
all right,
you don't want to hear spoilers, now's your time to exit on out of the podcast. All right. First.
Okay, I got a question first. So how the heck is John Walker supposed to fight with that shield? Because this was bothering me as like when at the end of the movie when he's like, it's like in the post credit scene, it's still like that, and I'm like, so how are you fighting with that? It is like, it makes no logistical sense, and just I'm like, you couldn't even get him a new shield. You got him like everyone new equipment, and this dude's still carrying a stupid taco around. So I don't know. That was the first thing where I was like, what the?
And I'm like, the Winter Soldier. I would think like Bucky could just go, at least try to unbend it. I don't know.
Well,
and then you got Sentry Bob right over here. Just say, hey Bob, can you unbend?
Well, he said he makes it very clear in the post credit scene. He's like, I can't really bring the Sentry out unless I bring the Void out too.
Yeah, which is fair.
Kind of like, well, I'd love to, but I can't. But I mean, Val's already funding this thing. They all got new outfits and everything. You got to get this man a shield. This man a shield.
Okay, Taskmaster. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I knew they were going to kill her immediately. I think everybody who was actually paying attention was like, you look at the trailers. She's in a couple scenes, and then she's in the back of all the posters. I'm like, I knew they were going to kill her. They killed her way earlier than I thought. Like it was the first time they all met, like instantly KO'd.
She went pow. I was like, whoop.
Instantly got caught. But I was like, okay, we're really just going to. I mean, I kind of felt bad for the actress. I'm like, man, this girl, like, I thought she had the role of a lifetime in Black Widow. Everyone hates her character. And it's like, all right, we're going to bring you back for this other movie. We're just going to shoot you in the face and call it a day. So,
how do you feel about, like, Taskmaster in general? It's kind of disappointing. I feel like I feel so disappointed in the way that they've used the character.
Yeah. My beef is I don't necessarily. It's not me necessarily having a problem with them gender swapping the character.
Yeah.
I would have obviously I would have preferred Tony Masters, the original Taskmaster. My beef is more. I hate how it's um her powers came from, or her ability to replicate whoever she's fighting's fighting skills.
Yeah.
It's tech based, and I think that's so stupid. His
Yeah.
power is his absurd photographic memory in the comics. That's his,
Yeah.
and being able to like memorize. Just he sees a little bit of how you fight, he internalizes it, and he's good to go.
Yeah.
You don't get that with this version of Taskmaster, and I wish they would have committed. If they did that, I think it would have been a lot cooler. And they didn't really do a lot of that. So,
do you think there's? I feel like now that they've used the character again, technically they could resurrect it in a different form, but like, is Taskmaster done now?
I kind of don't want them to, honestly.
Yeah, I feel it.
Solely because we've done this now, where it's like, oh, this character we originally introduced isn't the real one. We did this with the Mandarin already. We did this with, oh gosh, I'm sure we did this with someone else. It feels like we've done it several times. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the only case I'd be cool with it is if, like, after Secret Wars, if there is some kind of like soft reboot, maybe throw in a Taskmaster there. But I mean, I guess they're not going to do anything else in the meantime, probably. So
yeah,
but yeah, like everyone knew she was cooked. So, dude,
yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, when it happened, I was like, yep, all right, keep it moving. Like, yeah, I'm on to the next. Let me think. I had something else before we go into the major. No, I guess I don't. Okay. The marketing. I've been texting you and I've been telling him, like, hey, stay off of socials.
I did.
Like you're like, should I delete my Instagram? I was like, yes.
I deleted everything.
Yep. And our chat wasn't even the only chat. I started telling a bunch of people, I'm like, if you have not seen it, now is your chance to go and delete, because once you see it, you can't go back.
I wasn't surprised. Like, I knew the second I saw the asterisk, everyone's like, what's the asterisk mean? And I'm like, it's because they're going to change the name to something else. Like, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought, I didn't initially think, I thought it was going to be Dark Avengers is what I thought they were going to go with.
Okay.
Because the Dark Avengers are a comic team. Because the New Avengers are just update, like, more, I was telling you about this, more like updated. It was like a more updated Avengers roster from in the 2000s that they came up with.
Right.
It had Captain America, Iron Man, but it also had Spider-Man, Sentry, Spider-Woman, Luke Cage, Wolverine.
Yeah,
so it had some of your classics, but also had, okay, we're just going to throw, it basically was like, all right, we're going to throw your fan favorites in there and call it a day. But the Dark Avengers are are you familiar with the Dark Avengers?
Ish.
So I'm not a huge comic reader, but from what I understand, Norman Osborn, I think this happened after Civil War, he forms his own Avengers team of villains, basically, they become like heroes. So he becomes the version of Iron Man called Iron Patriot. That was the OG Iron Patriot.
Right.
Mac Gargan, who was the Scorpion, he actually had the Venom symbiote at the time. He became that Avengers team's Spider-Man. So he had like the black suit. Wolverine's evil son, I think, was the Wolverine. This is the genius choice. Bullseye was Hawkeye.
Yes, easily.
And then I think some Captain Marvel villain replaced her.
Okay,
but
interesting.
It was something like that. So I thought they were going to take a little bit more of that kind of a route. But New Avengers, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So I knew they were going to change it to something Avengers related. So it didn't really surprise me.
Right.
Oh, when you told me not to look at anything, I thought there was going to be some massive casting announcement or something. That's why I was. That's why I didn't everything. If I knew it was just that, I'd be like, all right. yeah, whatever.
What's funny is though is like I've read some tweets where some people are like, "Nah, I'm not. I don't want to go see it. I just want to wait." And I'm like, it's not the whole movie. Like the name change is not the whole movie. It is like a little
Yeah.
like a little that little surprise, but like it's not like the whole movie. Like you're not losing anything from going to go see it.
Yeah. Well, I knew at some point they were going to get the name change, but the way they did it, I still was surprised by. So
100%.
So I was like, well, going back to Val, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we got her. And then when you go out the other end, I genuinely was like, gosh dang it. I hate
She's like,
everything.
I've been working on this. And I'm like, what? This is your new Avengers? I
was like, gosh dang it. As soon as I saw that press conference, I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me.
But then I love when Yelena goes into her ear and she's like, we own you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, at least they can keep her in line.
Exactly. All right. Let's dig. Post-credit scene. Finally. I feel like I've been thirsting for a post-credit scene that I can get excited about, and we finally got it.
Yep.
And this one was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like, I think it was 2 minutes.
It's the longest one they've ever done, which I'm going to say I was a bit disappointed. I thought we were going to get like
a lot more.
When they said that, my brain, I think my expectations were a little too high.
Sure.
My brain was like, oh, we're going to get like a 5-minute one where it's just going to be like a whole another scene. And it's
sure.
not that. But it's
no.
You see the Thunderbolts, you see them in their new gear, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Which, by the way, shout out to U.S. Agent. I'm digging the beret. Actually,
yeah, the beret. That's a nice little change up.
I was like, I like. Oh, also, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I got a free 3D print file for the U.S. Agent's shield, and I was pretty stoked about it. And then when they bent that into a taco, I was like, gosh dang it, I can't have anything accurate. I downloaded this free file, and I can't use it anymore, man. That sucks. No, that's probably why it was free.
Freaking tacos.
Well, this guy, this one Instagram account I follow, he gives out, his files are pretty expensive, but they're always like super high quality. Yeah. But every once in a while, he'll drop a free file based on voting or based on whatever reason. And I'll be like, all right, you can download this. And I'll immediately scramble and download it. And I'm like, oh, that was the reason
why. So, like, your thoughts on, like, I thought the scene was solid. Again, it's what we needed. Because Brave New World, I was processing this today. And I was like, I think they should have shot another scene for Brave New World. Brave New World scene. I don't know. I can't confirm or not. I don't know if I've seen it or not. I think it's old. I think it's an old post-credit scene, and it doesn't add much value. Where I feel like this gives you. It doesn't spoil. It kind of spoils Fantastic Four and where it's going, but anybody that's smart enough and does enough research already knew where that movie was headed.
Oh, their universe is cooked.
Yeah,
their universe is so cooked.
Yeah, we already knew that. So
I want this to be a sad movie. I want like, because don't get me wrong, I know we've had stakes in Marvel movies before where it's like, oh, people actually lost their lives.
Yeah,
but like, it's all film. No one's actually getting hurt. I feel like I get a pass for saying this. I just want to see some carnage, man. I want to see these people lose everything, and I want some stakes, man. That's all I'm saying.
So what are your thoughts on, like, now that you see that we see this new Avengers squad and they're doing their thing in the new gear, which is kind of cool, kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Also, like, the whole thing with Sam not being happy. Because I think Sam. Here's the whole thing. I might as well tell you about it. Or do you want me to tell you a little bit about Brave New World? Do you care?
Yeah, I don't care. I think I know the gist of it. Yeah, I think I've seen Yeah.
Sam is trying to. Well, the president wants him to get the Avengers back together, and also Sam has been. I think he's kind of in that swirl where he's like, "Do we need to? Do we need to?" And I think after the events of this movie, he realizes he has to, and so we go into the scene.
I'm one dude with wings who's trying to fight the Hulk. Like,
which
The fact we didn't die in that movie instantly is nothing short of a miracle.
Thank God for those vibranium wings, which, by the way, they went to shreds. Makes sense.
Bro,
So to hear,
unbreakable. Come on now, what are we doing?
I know. But to hear like the conversation of Sam like not being happy, like, do you think we'll get to see that actually play out? Like, do we think we'll see a little bit of that? Because the fact that he's not happy about it, which I don't know if you also seen on socials, the Avengers accounts have trademarks on him now, which is funny. They're playing into that. Do you think we'll get to see that?
First of all, their marketing is they're having a blast. I think that's so cool. A+ marketing.
Yeah.
A+. I don't know. I think there'll probably be a little bit of beef. I think if they're going to be able to get everything, Doomsday and Secret Wars have a lot to do. This movie is going to have what? Like at least 4 teams. You got Sam's Sam's Avengers. You have the new Avengers. You got the Fantastic Four. You got the X-Men. And then I feel like I'm missing someone else. I guess maybe are the Guardians coming back? I forget. I couldn't remember if they were on the chair thingy.
Maybe.
But I don't know. You got at least 4 teams. And that dealing with all of that and trying to set up RDJ's Doctor Doom, that's a lot. So I don't know. Even if you make the movie 3 hours long, heck, you make it 3.5. I think it will definitely be one of those situations where they kind of roll, like with both Avengers teams, they kind of like roll their eyes at each other, especially like, oh, Sam's like, oh, these are the stupid new Avengers or whatever. Sure. I think they'll be annoyed, but I think it's like, I don't think they're gonna have time to like full on fight each other. I think it's just kind of a minor. Like I think they're just like, oh, you're the annoying nobodies, but they actually like step in and help. So,
do you think like? Again, this depends on what happens after Secret Wars. Civil War 2?
I think they're going to soft reboot. So
soft reboot, okay.
I think they'll probably soft reboot after Doomsday. I don't know.
You think? I won't say nobody survives.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think. I think they'll solve everything. I think the universe will go back to the way it was. But I think, and a lot of Marvel comic stories tend to be this way, or any kind of comic, even DC, where when they want to do a reboot, they'll have like some big universe-shattering event. They'll still solve it and win, but it's like, and they'll fix their universe or whatever. Yeah. But it won't be exactly the same.
No.
So that allows them to also leave the door open for some of the legacy characters they want to bring back, like Captain America, like Steve Rogers, Tony Stark.
Sure.
Maybe they won't. Maybe that's. I don't know. You got to think at this point though that by the time these next couple movies come out, like by the time Secret Wars is 2027, right? That's when that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have been doing these movies in this cinematic universe. They'll have been doing this since 2008. That's almost 20 years. I wouldn't blame them one bit if they said, let's change things up. It's not, and I say soft. I'm not saying, oh, we're just going to start from scratch.
Right.
But there could be a little soft reboot where it's like, hey, we got a little wiggle room. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely, it's tough though because it feels like there's so much more we could do.
Right.
So maybe they won't, but yep. I mean, I think I don't know if Civil War 2 is what I would really want next. I mean,
what do you want next?
I don't know, man. I mean, just keep giving me Spider-Man. I'm excited for a brand new day. Just don't get too multiversal with it. Give me some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I was really looking forward to Blade before they just shelved that one. That was probably my most anticipated movie when they announced it back in the back in like 2019.
Do
Wasn't even
do we see Mahershala at all? Do you think?
I mean, well, he was in the post-credit scene of Eternals, but it was like his voice.
It's just his voice. Yeah, it's just his voice.
I don't think so. He's getting up
How
there.
about say? I'm not sure if they will put him in there, but
yeah, I don't. Gosh, no, I don't even know. Maybe they won't soft reboot. Now I think about it, because Fantastic Four will have just started. So
I mean, they still could, like you said.
That's why I'm saying soft, because I think like maybe
they still could.
They'll just kind of clean something. I think it might just be like, all right, let's clean a couple things up, and then maybe we can go back to doing something else.
Yeah.
Gosh, anything I'd like to see? That's tough. I
think I just want to see X-Men.
Well, they're going to have to do their own X-Men, so they're going to have to do that. I'd like to see them do stuff that's a little bit more different in terms of the X-Men, because I think like Charles Xavier in a school with his students, that's been done a million times over at this point. But from what I understand, a lot of the newer stuff is very different, and so I'd be down for something. I'd be down for something a little bit different. I'm not very familiar with it, but just some of the people I listen to, they're like, "Oh, that hasn't been Charles Xavier in the school hasn't been the status quo in a while." So I'm like, "Oh,
wow,
I'll give that I could give that. I'd be interested."
Yeah.
Oh gosh, man, other good. More Spider-Man. More Black Panther. I don't know if I want. I got mixed feelings on if they go back to a version of T'Challa. If they do a soft reboot, they might be able to do that. That's where that gets a bit tricky.
Sure.
I'd be down for maybe like, well, let's see here. Keep giving me Daredevil. Even though people are saying Born Again's not as good, it definitely isn't as good. But I actually
but it's good.
I'm still really enjoying it. Even the stuff, like, because there's been some like multiple writers popping in. The Loki people came in and changed some stuff.
Yeah,
I still really enjoy it. Although hearing some of the stuff they changed, like I guess Vanessa was originally recast. I want to know what they were smoking. Like, why would you ever want to go away from the Netflix show, even if you wanted to change the story up or make you not have to do all that homework? Like,
it's crazy. It's just crazy, and it's even a bold move for them to go, we're gonna throw everything out and we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it this way instead. Like, it's crazy how they sat and watched and were just like,
but we're still gonna keep the best actors. Like,
right, and they weren't stubborn about it too. They were just like, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna go back and just do what we want to do. I mean, do what we want to do. Which makes sense.
Let me see here. Marvel heroes who have not had an MCU movie.
Yeah, I really want Blade. I'm itching for Blade.
Oh, okay. Some of these I totally agree. So Beta Ray Bill, the Thor character, would love that.
Okay. People thought Christian Bale was playing him for a sec, but
unfortunately not.
Gore.
I don't know. You could give me a million. There's plenty of Spider. I feel like all the things I want would be like Spider-Man. Like, I don't know.
Oh, well, I forgot to mention this too. Ryan Reynolds, apparently he's working on a Deadpool and X-Men team up movie treatment. He hasn't shown it to Marvel yet, but he's working on it. What are your thoughts on that? Early thoughts?
I think that'd be cool. I mean, I kind of hope it's a little bit not as Fox X-Men heavy. Like, if you're going to do something, like, I heard someone say, like, we said goodbye to these characters a million times. Like, with, all these different reboots. Days of Future Past was a great crossover. We said goodbye to Hugh Jackman with Logan. We said goodbye to so many X-Men characters in Deadpool and Wolverine. Now we're going to say goodbye to them again in Doomsday. So it's like, I kind of want them to go in a different direction. But I'm those movies are hilarious. I'm always down to go see another one.
Yeah, I really like Deadpool and Wolverine, so I'm intrigued to see what that looks like. And I bet it would have to be within the plans of what the X-Men, because they have yet to really formally introduce the X-Men. So it'll be interesting to see, like, does it play in their plans, or does he have to tweak whatever he comes up with?
Yeah.
So that would definitely be definitely something to watch, in the coming years. So, all right, Josh, any last thoughts on
I'm
Thunderbolts?
still looking to see if there's anything I would particularly want.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like I need to chew on this more.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. Got plenty of time to chew.
Yeah, I'll be back on at some point. I mean, I know everyone else says it. I'd love a street level Daredevil Spider-Man crossover, but I know the rights kind of get messy.
Yeah, I'd want that too for sure.
I mean, I don't know a single person who wouldn't want that, but yeah, I gotta whip out the old encyclopedias. When I was a kid, my parents bought me like several different Marvel encyclopedias. I have one on X-Men, Spider-Man, and Avengers, and I'm like, I need to whip these bad boys out and see if there's anyone I'd love to see.
I think my Spider-Man one is like right over here. I found it at home, like my childhood home, and I was like, oh, I remember getting this at the book fair. It's got like all the villains, all the stuff in there. But okay, last. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm looking at Spider-Man villains. Is there anyone I? Oh, okay, I lied. If we get a street level Spider-Man movie,
yeah,
I want Tombstone.
And
I want him done like it's done in Spectacular Spider-Man, like where he's like a mob boss. Like give me him as a. If you have not watched that show,
who would you have him? Who would you have play him?
You gotta have someone with a really menacing voice, because they had, what was it, Keith David the guy that did it in Spectacular Spider-Man? I think it was him.
I think so. I think it was Keith David.
Well, it was him for the first episode, and then they hired a duplicate.
Okay.
Oh gosh, you need someone who's got like just one of those like cold-blooded kind of voices. I don't know. Alan Rickson? I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
Alan can play anybody, actually.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's all I want now.
Looking at Fantastic Four, that's our next big release. Ironheart in June, but Fantastic Four in July. Obviously we've seen the trailers and we know what to kind of expect. I'm sure there's other stuff in the film, but like thinking post-credit, how big do you think this post-credit is gonna? I mean, it has to be even bigger in my opinion than Thunderbolts, and it probably should. What are your early thoughts on what that could look like? Because I was processing that this morning too, and I was like, what if we get an RDJ post credit? Like,
I think it's gonna be him.
I was like, it has to be somebody, and it would make sense. It was him. It would make sense.
It's like Marvel. You get your speed running, trying to get this Doomsday story set up at this point. You gotta pull RDJ out as fast as you can. I think
give me 2 minutes. Give me a 2-minute post credit scene, or it could be 4 or 5. I don't care. Like, I think people will sit and watch, but give me a good chunk.
We either need a beefy post credit scene, or you need to sneak some stuff about him in the movie. And the trailers have done a really good job of keeping things pretty vague.
Oh, like, yeah. Oh,
it's all just hero worship for the Fantastic Four. So I'm like,
hero worship, Silver Surfer.
We know what the problem is. We know what the problem is, but it's like, I don't know. It's just very vague. And I
there's
love that.
layers. There's layers there.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be layers there, but that's probably why I don't think I will watch another trailer. I won't watch a clip. I think I want to go in with what I know, which is, like you said, it feels vague, and I feel like that feels just right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, Josh, I think that's about it, man. I think that's about it. Dude, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. We finally got you on. and we'll definitely have you on again. We have to. It's a must.
Heck yeah, man.
If you're still listening, go see Thunderbolts. Go check it out. Highly recommend it. It's a good movie. Feels like the MCU is kind of back with this one. And then Fantastic Four, which I think mostly everybody I've talked to, they say it looks good and they're excited about it. So we'll see if they can land this plane heading into Doomsday and then Secret Wars. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, all those fun things. And then I'll see you guys real soon here on the Real Table Podcast. You guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Peace. Once again, thank y'all so much for joining me today on the Real Table Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and even comment. I want to hear your thoughts and I want to hear your opinions. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Real Table Pod and on Twitter at The Real Table. And don't forget to also check me out on therealtable.com for news, articles, and reviews. I will see y'all soon. Peace.